Hello and welcome to today's video. My name's Haley, and today we're going over the 9th gene key, which is called the power of the infinitesimal. Infinitesimal. I still didn't Google how to say that. Anyways, it's this word right here, if you're curious. I should have Googled that before I made this. Oh well. Anyways, as per usual, there's 3 states to this gene key. Today, and perhaps the next video as well, we'll be going over the shadow state of inertia, because I have a tendency to have a lot to say in these portions about the shadow, because there's just so much information. So 2 parts for that. Shadow state video of inertia will be today. Eventually we'll get into the gift of determination, and then into the Siddhi state of invincibility. Inertia, determination, invincibility. I like saying the word invincibility. Kind of makes me feel a little invincible. So the gene keys is mocked after the I Ching, which, if you're not familiar, it also has 64 parts. And Richard Rudd says here right at the beginning that this 9th gene key, in reference to the I Ching, is often called the taming the power of the small. And then its programming partner, which is the 2 gene keys that go together like little buddies and help explain each other, which is the 26th within the I Ching, is named taming the power of the great. So this 9th gene key, taming the power of the small, goes in conjunction with the 26th I Ching and 26th gene key, taming the power of the great. And he says, in reference to the gene keys, this taming the power of the small from the 9th I Ching refers to the human tendency to become submerged in unnecessary and irrelevant details. So, shadow state being the inability to tame the power of the small. You're allowing the small things to power you, to overtake you. To become submerged in unnecessary and irrelevant details. So essentially, when you get caught in a thought loop about maybe something you said at the luncheon with your staff, oh, why did I say that? You know, you're grocery shopping, oh, why did I say that? You're at dinner with your family, oh, why did I say? You just keep returning. They are doing some construction. But even that, right? That's what it sounds like in your head. It's like someone's hammering something when you're constantly going over these unnecessary and irrelevant details, and you're allowing these small things in life to overpower you. This means you're in the shadow state of inertia. So it's kind of nice that the correlating I Ching helps also explain this 9th gene key. And then in reverse, I, the individual, tame the small, therefore elevate into a higher frequency within this 9th gene key by applying my energy only to that which serves a higher purpose. Meaning I use my mind to serve me. I don't let my mind use me. I don't let these small details overpower and take me. I utilize my mind. I tame the small details. I use my energy to serve the higher purpose. Okay, well then a good follow-up question is, what is my higher purpose? That's a whole rabbit hole that we will get into eventually. But basically, when you're in the higher manifestation of this key, of this power, you essentially are skilled at saying no, setting boundaries, protecting your energy, utilizing your energy consciously in ways that not only serve you, but also the whole, right? To be driven by a higher purpose and service-oriented is not to forget yourself while giving to others, but it's to elevate the all, including yourself. So the person that knows how to tame the small knows how to use their energy, use their mind to serve, not allow their mind to use them. And we've talked, I'm trying to remember which gene key it was. I talked about how you have to use your mind, not let your mind use you. It's kind of all bleeding together now. And this is one thing I love about the gene keys. I don't know, if you're not familiar, you can actually go to the Gene Keys website, plug in your date of birth, time, all these things, and then you get a genetic makeup of 11 keys that is personalized to you. I have found, however, actually this series, even these first 8 gene keys, none of them apply to me technically, meaning none of them are in my chart, yet I find all of them extremely helpful and applicable. So yeah, I'm a big fan of just saying all the gene keys apply to everyone. We're all one, right? But anyways, back to the 9th gene key. He says, when you allow small details to tame you, these thought loops to overtake you, your mind to run you dry, you're sapping your life force. And I thought it was interesting because at first when I read that, I read the word zapping, like which also makes sense. To be zapped of something is discharge energy. But he says sapping your life force, which created another visual in my head on top of that kind of electric zap of life force exiting. Sapping of life force made me think of a tree and how sap comes out, maple syrup comes out, and it's like a draining. And just like a tree that excretes maple syrup, it's sweet nectar that is leaving your body when you're allowing your mind to use you. When you're letting yourself be tamed by these small, insignificant details, conversations, thought loops, anxieties, worries, whatever. Your sweet life force, just like the nectar from a maple tree, is exiting you when you allow this to be done unto you. When you allow this to be done unto you, that's an important part. There's an allowance factor here, which we'll get into later, this concept of responsibility. Responsibility for your thoughts and taming your own mind. And he says this is what eventually pulls an individual into this shadow state of inertia. This constant draining, this constant sapping. Or zapping. Choose your analogy. Like the lightning bolt exiting or the sapping of the tree. I actually prefer the sapping one now because of the sweet nectar analogy. He mentions a famous statement by Chinese sage Lao Tzu. I think I said that right. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Meaning you got to focus on what lies right in front of you rather than concerning yourself with where the future is taking you or not taking you. So this axiom, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, is all about essentially presence, right? What's right here, right now, at my fingertips. Some construction, some Gene Keys videos. Wow, they're really going at it early. It's literally like not even 9 a.m. Anyways, it's one of my pet peeves. It's like the construction noises. But yes, focusing what lies right in front of you, even if it is something kind of annoying or triggering, like the sound of construction, rather than projecting into the future. What could happen, what not could happen. Let me try to look in the past and create a prediction so that I can project that prediction into the future and try to plot and plan. It's like, no, just be here. So he states this axiom from Lao Tzu. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And then he brings this back into the 9th shadow by saying the 9th shadow is about where you place that focus. So if you're in this 9th shadow of inertia, once again, your focus is not right here, right now, in this present moment. Your focus is in the mind, right? You're letting those smaller, indifferent thoughts tame you, control you, keep sapping you back into the past, replaying that memory of what you said at the luncheon with your staff. Oh gosh, why did I do that? Or on the inverse, you're worrying about the future that you can't predict or that you're trying to plan and analyze. So when you're in this shadow of inertia, you're either being pulled towards the past or towards the future. Therefore, you're unable to sit here right now. you're not able to start this journey of 1,000 miles because the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step that happens right now. So essentially, it's kind of this paradox of you feel you're getting pulled one way or another, right, towards the past or the future, yet ironically enough, you're not actually taking any evolutionary step. Because to evolve requires presence. And presence is on a sliding scale, right? You can be semi-present subconsciously. You can still be present to, process the food through your body, but then also be thinking. But to be fully present would be to be on a fast track to evolution. And what does fully present even mean, right? Once again, it's on an infinite scale. You can keep being more present, which is so interesting to think about. He says that the 9th gene key holds one of the greatest of all secrets: how to stop your mind from undermining your natural destiny. That is a large promise, Richard Rudd. He's saying that in this 9th gene key, if we all really pay attention, the secret of how to stop my mind, how to stop your mind from undermining your entire destiny will be revealed. Okay, so that obviously piqued my interest. And, I read these chapters with the utmost note-taking because I don't want to miss anything. So let's keep going to see if we can uncover this gem that Richard Rudd has promised us. How to stop the mind from undermining our natural destiny. And you'll see I made this little drawing down here, which is very skilled. Could be in an art museum. And that is to represent a stepping stone path. Going back to that axiom, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So I made a little stepping stones. Just sometimes I like to doodle to visualize. Once again, you have to be present to start stepping on the stones. So he says, if you're in this shadow state of inertia, your stepping stone path looks circular. And I, once again, drew you a nice little example here. The stepping stones go in a circle. You're following the same old footprints and your energy is going nowhere, right? If you're walking in a circle, you're not going anywhere. And he says that the majority of humans on this planet are walking a circular path, a path that goes nowhere. They're constantly repeating their old patterns and old cycles, which don't serve them. And not only are they repeating their old patterns and cycles, because nothing's wrong with that, but they're also not learning from every single time they repeat it, therefore they're forced to repeat it again. So something I just want to say here is, for a long time, I would think about patterns, cyclical behavior, and think, oh, it's bad. And then through an amalgamation of meditation and reading a book I can't remember the name of right now, I started to realize that patterns and cycles are not necessarily bad, right? Everything in and of itself is empty of nature, returning to that Buddhist concept I talked about a few videos ago. And what that means is, okay, so say, let's just make something up. Say I have a terrible habit of overeating chocolate. Every time I get stressed, I just, go buy 10 chocolate bars and I smash them all. Obviously not good for my health. I could be fueling my body with proteins and fats and different carbs and something more balanced, but instead, every time I feel overwhelmed, I go to chocolate. Or every time I'm on my period, I go to chocolate. Or every time whatever my ex-boyfriend calls me, I go to chocolate. So this is just an example of a pattern that does not serve, a cycle that keeps repeating itself. So the cycle in and of itself, which would be the act of overeating chocolate, is not bad if right after it happens, I, of my own free will, choose to wake up and learn from my quote-unquote mistake. That's the book, Course in Miracles. This is where I learned this. Course in Miracles is a great book, you guys. I highly recommend that book. It's massive. It's like this book big. It's actually my other Bible. This is Bible number 2 for me, but it's also a big blue book, so chock full of wisdom. But they talk about this concept of when you make a mistake or when you repeat a pattern or a cycle, you have two options: to either stay unconscious and therefore repeat it again, in which case, yes, it is bad, or you have the ability to wake up and realize this does not serve me. What can I extract from this? Why does this not serve me? Why is it that when I overeat chocolate, I don't feel good? And it only takes a few seconds of contemplation for some patterns and cycles. Oh, because my body doesn't want this amount of chocolate. My body wants an amalgamation of nutrients that I'm not giving it. Oh, it's also because I'm coming to this place of eating chocolate from a very reactionary point of being. Of course, my body's not going to be able to process it. Of course, I'm not going to feel good afterward. So basically, if you're able to sit and extract the lesson, the wisdom, pause, and understand why it is that this is not serving you, start to tune into your body and realize, I don't feel good. Maybe I shouldn't keep doing this. Then that quote unquote pattern or cycle has now started to serve you in the sense that it gives you a level of wisdom and experience that you couldn't have attained without it. And now, right, you break this cyclical pattern stepping stone path and you start to go in a straighter line, or a line that evolves, I should say. So these patterns and these cycles repeat, waiting for you to wake up and extract the wisdom out of them. And with this frame of mind, it's also interesting because now, instead of cursing all of my bad habits or my patterns or my cycles, I can start to become excited about them. Wait, so you're telling me every single place I have a pattern, a bad habit, or a cycle that's repeating itself, I have the ability to extract a piece of wisdom from it and then actually evolve dramatically, take a quantum leap? Well, in this case, it should be like a kid in a candy store. I hope I have tons of patterns and cycles to become made aware of so that I can start to quantum leap. And I really like the perception shift that the Course in Miracles provides when it talks about bad habits, patterns, cycles, because it not only helps the individual see the futility in repeating the pattern or the cycle, but it also helps the individual get excited and grateful for the things that have maybe caused them detriment in the past. It's an entire reframing of the past, which also reframes the future and the present. And I have found, at least for myself, it's brought me into a lot of gratitude for the things I have struggled with, the eating disorder, all the other things in my life, but that's like the biggest one that I had to kind of work through and get out of this circular loop with. And so, I got a little bit off track there, but I felt it was necessary to explain that. And I will also link the Course in Miracles below if you're interested in looking into that. There's also so many YouTube series on the Course in Miracles where people talk about their downloads and insights, kind of similar to this, if you don't feel like reading an 1,000-page long book. I also do think in the future, maybe once I'm done with this annotation, I will do a series on the Course in Miracles, because that book has truly changed my life. But yes, all of this to say, if you're in this lower frequency of inertia, it means you are walking a path that looks like this. There's cycles and patterns and bad habits to be made aware of in order to break you free from this cycle. And the big question is, in the first contemplation within this video is, what are my bad habits? What are my cycles? What are my patterns? You could sit with this question for quite a long time. A bad habit can be anything as simple as overeating chocolate to treating every server when I'm hangry bad. Oh yeah, I do that every time I'm hangry. I don't give the server a lot of respect. Or maybe just in general, I constantly disregard people that are trying to help me. Customer service, I rarely look them in the eyes or ask them how they're doing. That's not something I want to keep repeating. Or it can be, a cycle can be, I keep dating really toxic men. I just don't know why. It's like I break up with one, and the next thing I know, I meet another one, and he's just as toxic. That can also be a cycle. A bad habit can be over consumption of TV or alcohol or shopping. We can be addicted or stuck within patterns or habits that don't serve us within all frames of life. So sometimes with these kind of very broad, big questions that you could sit with for a long time, I like to meditate and then, embark on answering the question. Or I find it very helpful to divide it into categories. And by that, I mean, write the words friends, family, work, hobbies, travel, like make a few, options, and then within those options brainstorm, are there any bad habits I have within my friends group? Are there any bad habits I show up with in the workplace? Are there any bad habits that I have that fall within my hobbies? What cycles keep repeating themselves within the work environment for me? So sometimes that helps me break it down too, since it's such a big question. And I truly think an individual, I should say, could sit with this for quite a long time. Because once again, there's always something to break free from, because that's the nature of evolution. There will never be a day where you wake up and you're like, yep, all the cycles, all the patterns, all the habits, I think I'm done. Because evolution never ends. There's always something to improve upon, which is beautiful. And once again, reframing that. This shouldn't be to your detriment. This should excite you. Every time you catch a pattern, a habit, or a cycle, you receive the opportunity to literally quantum leap once you extract the wisdom and learn from that experience and break the cycle. Yeah, it's kind of like that Candyland game where I don't know if you guys ever played Candyland, but there's like a little trail of candy, and then occasionally you land on the spot, and instead of having to go all the way around the arc, you can go from here and take a little ladder and skip right here. So it's like a little Candyland quantum leap every time you find a cycle, pattern, or habit, and you choose of your own free will to extract the wisdom and learn from it and apply what you learned to climb the Candyland ladder. And this is why these shadow state videos have two parts, because I always go down a very big rabbit hole with them. He says at the gift level, the stepping stones go off into the distance and over the horizon, right? So at the gift level, they're no longer within this cyclical frequency. You've broken free of the cycle, and now you can evolve. Here's an important part. At this gift frequency, once you're embodied within this determination, and it does take determination to break a cycle, to get out of this state of inertia. No, I don't care how bad I want to eat the chocolate. I'm not going to, because I see the futility in repeating this cycle. I understand that to take this journey of 1,000 steps, I have to start stepping now. And so this determination, this gifted determination, is what fuels you to go off into the distance and over the horizon. And he says that you do not know where this path is going, but it doesn't matter. You know they are leading you forward. So that's interesting. He's implying that within this gift frequency, and perhaps all gift frequencies, once you start to raise your frequency overall and escape all shadow states, you're essentially stepping into a path that you have literally no idea where it goes. But you do know that it's going forward. And this made me think of this concept of trusting the unknown, which I used to study a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, and he references this trust the unknown, be in love with the unknown a lot, which essentially just means be present. And to be present right here, right now, once again, is not to keep projecting forward into the future. Obviously, the future's coming. The sun rises every morning. But I'm not there analyzing, every single aspect or just brainstorming about how the sun's going to rise because I know it's going to come. Same thing with this path. I know that the unknown is going to keep unfolding, but I'm not sitting here using this present moment to think about the future. I'm using this present moment to step on this present step. Keep taking that journey of 1,000 steps. And that requires trust. To keep stepping, knowing it's going forward but not knowing where it's going. Imagine getting onto a plane and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go somewhere really beautiful. And you're like, oh, where? They're like, oh, well, you'll just like find out, buckle up. How many of you would get on that plane? It's an interesting question to ponder, because some people would be like, okay, I'm down, even though I don't know where we're going. It's beautiful, and you know, the way in which the flight attendant told me that, I can tell she's not lying. I can tell this is actually beautiful. I have a sense of, for whatever reason, certainty that she's telling me the truth. And even though I still don't know where we're going, I'm kind of curious. So yeah, I'll get on the plane. And then other people will be like, are you crazy? You're not going to tell me where we're going? Of course I'm not going to get on the plane. And they might even get aggravated by that, threatened by the fact that they think this flight attendant has the authority to withhold information from them. And within this analogy, the flight attendant is symbolic of God, love, Shana, Shakti, Mana, Prana, whatever you want to call that energy inside of you and all around you. And life force energy does have the authority to lead you blindly into the unknown with your trust. However, because of free will, we have to also be willing to give that trust in order to take the flight. The flight attendant can't force you to stay on the plane. Then she'd probably go to jail or get in trouble by the captain. But she can strongly suggest and communicate to you calmly and clearly that it is going to be beautiful and that she'd like you to stay. Same thing with God. It's going to be beautiful, and God would like you to stay here right now in this present moment so you can start to experience the beauty unfold. And eventually we'll get to the destination, and that will be beautiful too. But the sheer thrill of sitting on the edge of your seat because you don't know where you're going will also keep you in the state of hyper-presence. If you allow it to, if you're curious for it to. Or it will send you into perhaps anger or fear reactions if you're in resistance to the fact that you don't know where you're going. So trusting the unknown, trusting the flight attendant, trusting God, trusting there's beauty in your future is pinnacle to stepping into the gift frequency. Because without that, you probably are going to get really pissed off at the flight attendant or react in fear. Maybe you'll get really scared. You'll have some adverse effect that doesn't serve you or the flight attendant or the flight as a whole. So being trusting with the unknown means you know you're going forward, you just don't know where you're going. And this means that every single step you take is all important as well as an adventure, he says. When I'm truly attempting to be embodied within this gift frequency of determination, every single thing I do, even the minuscule, even the way in which I drink water, which sounds ridiculous, but it's true, is important. Instead of chugging water unconsciously, can I really appreciate each sip? And the more I can fall into presence with even the mundane acts of life, drinking water, doing my laundry, checking the mail, the more here I am, the bigger step I can take on this step of 1,000 paths, 1,000 stones. Whatever Lao Tzu said. The more I can evolve is what I'm trying to say. And it's also an adventure, right? You start to discover this the more present you become, that even as silly as it sounds, the act of drinking water done in presence can be an all new encapsulating adventure the more you allow yourself to melt into the be here now-ness of it all. Find out for yourself. Maybe that can be your other homework piece for this video. Drink a glass of water in hyper-presence and see what you find, or see what finds you. See what adventure unveils itself, and practice getting into this gift frequency. So I'm going to wrap this up for now. We're still talking about the shadow state, by the way. Sometimes he likes to mention the gift frequency within the shadow chapter, vice versa. But we still have quite a bit of the shadow state to go over. In the next video, I'll cap the repressive nature and the reactive nature within the Shadow of Inertia. And eventually we'll get into the gift of determination. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in with me for this Gene Keys episode. I also just wanted to come on here and start promoting my one-to-one coaching that I offer to women and girls ages 16 to 35. If you've followed me on Instagram for a while, you might be a little bit familiar with my story. I was a model in New York City for 5 years, and in that time frame, I did quite some damage. I developed a really severe eating disorder, body dysmorphia, chronic anxiety. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even go out to dinner without thinking about how much calories, how much I'd have to overwork out in order to compensate for what I was eating. All of those issues led to quite a depression and turned into PCOS, and I also lost my menstrual cycle for over 5 years. All of this amalgamation of issues led me to soon realize that something needed to change. I went through much work. Many people helped me to get to where I am now. And I'm so thrilled to say I'm living such a more abundant life, and I don't feel zapped and drained and fear of judgment anymore like I used to. I would love to offer what I've learned through my own embodied experience, the meditative techniques that have gravitated toward me, and the own verified games that I've made up and curated to help you walk home to more of you and who you really are, so that all of these things can stop draining your energy. You know, all the constant comparison to others and to people on Instagram, all the over-analysis about working out and what you're eating or what you look like. All of these things are not what life's about, as cheesy as it sounds. And I would love to help you come into more unity with you if you struggle with any of these things and you're a woman or girl between the ages of 16 and 35. So feel free to reach out to me if one-on-one coaching sounds resonant. You can feel free to DM me through Instagram or contact me via email, both of which will be left below in the description box. So much love and aloha to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.